The Irish Tragedy, State of Grace Retrospective. Welcome to a new episode of Celluloid Heart. Today, we take you to the smoky streets of Hell's Kitchen in 1990. Imagine having shot a crime masterpiece. You have an incredible cast with Sean Penn and Gary Oldman, a soundtrack by Ennio Morricone, and a raw story about the Irish mob. But then, fate plays a cruel trick on you. Your movie comes out at the exact same moment as another film, a little project called Goodfellas by Martin Scorsese. This is the story of State of Grace, a film defined as an underrated gem, commercially crushed by a giant, yet surviving as a cult classic. David versus Goliath and the collapse of Orion. The numbers tell a brutal story. While Scorsese's masterpiece grossed nearly $47 million, becoming a cultural phenomenon, State of Grace barely scraped together $1.9 million. But the blame didn't lie solely with the competition. The distribution company, the legendary Orion Pictures, was drowning in debt. On the brink of bankruptcy, they couldn't afford to promote the film. State of Grace was released in fewer than 350 theaters. It was the swan song for an entire era of mid-budget cinema. Too expensive to be indie, too risky for a dying studio. A logistical failure, not an artistic one. Hell's Kitchen and the Ghosts of the Westies. But what makes this film so special? It is the authenticity. The movie was shot entirely on location in 1989, capturing the New York that no longer exists today. Hell's Kitchen isn't depicted romantically, but as a brutal place made of dive bars and whiskey fumes. The plot is inspired by the real-life Westies gang, Irish criminals known for their anarchic ferocity and the macabre habit of dismembering their victims. The film serves as a funeral dirge for this neighborhood, showing a war lost from the start, not against the police, but against gentrification and the yuppies who were invading the city. The beating heart of the film is Jackie Flannery, played by a Gary Oldman in A State of Grace. Critics call him the ultimate chameleon. While Joe Pesci's Tommy DeVito in Goodfellas was exuberant, Oldman's Jackie is a psychotic yet strangely childlike loose cannon. There is a scene where he keeps severed hands in the freezer, a quiet and terrifying madness. Director Phil Joannou said that Oldman's first takes were always pure gold. It is an electric performance that alone makes the film worth rediscovering. Love and Method, Sean Penn and Robin Wright. On the other side, we have Sean Penn in the role of Terry, the undercover cop, and Ed Harris as the icy boss, Frankie. But there is a level of reality that transcends acting. The real-life romance between Sean Penn and Robin Wright began on this set. Their chemistry on screen is palpable because it was real. This adds immense tragic weight. When Terry's character betrays her family, it's not just the plot twist. It feels like a true emotional betrayal. Penn, however, was not easy to manage. The producer described him as a tiger in the room, capable of power moves that sent the film $5 million over budget. Visually, State of Grace is a neo-noir masterpiece. Thanks to Blade Runner cinematographer Jordan Cronenweth, Hell's Kitchen appears as a physically palpable place. The film uses slow motion in a Peckinpah-esque way, especially in the final shootout. It is a stylized dance of death. The film's structure is circular. It begins and ends with the St. Patrick's Day parade. At the start, it is a celebration of Irish identity. At the end, it is the tragic symbol of an era dying in blood. The music, U2 versus Morricone. We close with a fascinating curiosity about the soundtrack. Originally, the director wanted U2, with whom he had worked on Rattle and Hum. But when the deal fell through, he turned to the maestro, Ennio Morricone. And it was an incredible accidental advantage. Instead of contemporary rock, Morricone brought an elegant and operatic score. His music transforms what could have been a simple gangster story into a classic, timeless tragedy. A melancholic touch that elevates the film above its competitors of the era. The legacy remains a paradox, a commercial failure that became an artistic triumph over time. It is the epitaph of a genre and a neighborhood. If you love cinema that punches you in the gut and stays with you, track it down. Thanks for listening. See you soon.